Jingle bells swing and jingle bells ring.
Hello everybody, welcome, hello, come on in, go grab a cup of tea or a whiskey or a Diet Coke, just go and grab something and come on in, grab a blanket, grab a book, light some candles and let's get cozy. My idea was to film this video during the daytime. It's currently 4:45 and it's pitch black outside, so I had to change up my whole setup, but I have my Christmas lights up, they are all around my room, I have a couple of candles lit for aesthetically pleasing purposes, even though I don't think you're going to see them because I'm hopefully going to be holding up, I say hopefully, it's quite embarrassing, I'm going to be holding up a couple of books. If you're here then you will know from the title that today I'm going to be talking about all of the books that I have bought that I have not read, because I am that person. I go into a Waterstones and I just buy books and then I don't read them. Here's my theory for those who get angry with me when I buy too many books. There's going to come a time when I'm sitting at home and I'm going to be thinking, oh man, I wish I had that book that I bought a couple months ago. And then you know what? The book's going to be right there on the shelf and ready for me to just grab it and go. That way I'm saving money and I'm not leaving to go and buy the book. That's just my way of thinking. My friend Ailey hopefully will understand my feelings. Ailey might get mentioned in this video quite a bit because the last couple of times I've been to the bookshop, she's been with me because we're both just as bad as each other and we're always buying books. But yes, I am a huge lover of books. I love literature, I love reading. Most of the books in the last 4 years have been on Audible, so I will listen to the books while I am working. But basically I've bought too many books and I just want to sit in here and just talk about those books that I've bought. But before we get started, if anyone is wondering what I'm wearing on my jumper, this is a jumper I got from Clique Clothing. If you would like, I will leave the link to their online store downstairs. It is a sister-owned company that is on Etsy that I found through Instagram, and they make jumpers, hats, bags, totes, caps with quotes and images from music. Taylor Swift, Gilmore Girls, Twilight, oh my gosh, what's the other one? There's so many to remember. Basically they are really with it with pop culture and they embroidered it all into jumpers. So if you would like to get something for someone's Christmas, then I will leave the link down below for you guys because I would definitely check them out. I absolutely love their shop and their customer service is literally the best. Thank you guys so much for creating all this wonderful aesthetically pleasing nostalgic magic for us fans to enjoy, and I can't wait to order many more items from your shop. So anyway, without further ado, yes, I buy too many books, so I'm going to sit here and talk about the books that I've bought. I think the best place to start would be at the end, because if I try and go back to the beginning, it will just be too embarrassing, so we're just going to work our way back. So let's start off with Go Tell the Bees I Am Gone by Diana Gabaldon, and this is a first edition book. There she is on the back. This is Diana's 9th novel in the amazing, I could cry talking about it, Outlander series. Outlander has come into my life. It came into my life a couple of years ago, but then it recently came into my life through lockdown, through looking on Amazon Prime, and I just thought, oh yeah, there's that show that I started watching that I kind of fell away from. My god, thank god I got back into it because I love it so much. And this book is the 9th novel in the Outlander series and it is a first edition and I got it signed. So I pre-ordered this on Waterstones app, on the Waterstones app, sorry, with a gift card that I got for Christmas. By the way, if anyone that knows me on here doesn't know what to get me for Christmas, i.e. friends and family, Waterstones gift card. Literally will make me the happiest person in the world. I don't want anything else other than Waterstones gift cards because I love going to Waterstones. Clearly they should sponsor this video. This book is the 9th novel in the Outlander series. So there's quite a few books here. I've read the first and the second book. I skipped the third and I'm currently reading the third book, which is Drums of Autumn, which is actually up here right now. So yes, Outlander by Diana Gabaldon. I never know how to say her name. But this is Go Tell the Bees That I Am Gone, and oh yeah, I forgot about this, but look at this. Look at this shiny. Look at this. It is 1779 and Claire and Jamie are at last reunited with their daughter Brianna, her husband Roger and their children on Fraser's Ridge. Having the family together is a dream the Frasers had thought impossible, yet even in the North Carolina backcountry the effects of war are being felt. Basically it's the 9th Outlander book and there's no season made from this yet, so yeah, I bought it because I know I'm gonna finish the books and then I'm gonna read this one. So this is number 1 and I got this in 2021. That's another thing I should mention as well. Let me just pick up, what's this one? Never ending story. So what I do with my books is I will write my name in them and I will date them as well. Don't know if you can see that. To the right. Ah, there we go. Okay, so this one was bought in 2020, but we'll get to that. But yeah, that's just an example. Every single book that I buy, I will write my name and I will date the book so that I can keep track of when I bought it. Or sometimes if it was a gift, like there's a couple of books in this pile that are gifted to me, I will write down who gave me the books and when, because it's like keeping a diary when I buy books. I like to just remember like who gave me them and like when and stuff like that. So yes, this was a gift from me to me. And let's move it to the we've talked about it pile. It's on this side of the floor. Okay. The next book is Midnight in Everwood by M.A. Kaznier. I'm so sorry if I'm pronouncing that wrong. But this is a Waterstones exclusive with a beautiful piece of artwork on the pages. This is a retelling of the Nutcracker, and because it's nearly Christmas, I thought this would be the perfect book to sit and read during the Christmas period. So I've started reading this book. I got maybe a chapter and a half in, and then I got a little preoccupied with other things. But from what I've read so far, I'm hooked. I'm really interested. I can't wait to see how it ends. So this is Midnight in Everwood, which is a dark retelling, adult dark retelling of the Nutcracker. Next we have Kingdom of Ash. I am so sorry I cannot speak today. It's been so long since I've been in front of a camera. So it's been a while since I've had to sit and have a discussion with my camera. We're having a connection again, you know. Hi. I actually finished reading the first book in this series, which is called Throne of Glass. The series is about a character called Selena Sardothian, who is the world's most notorious assassin, and she is picked to compete in this kind of Hunger Games type of competition, and if she wins the competition then she will be the king's champion. She'll do that for 4 years and then she'll get her freedom, because she was on a job where she got caught, and that's how she ended up being thrown into a place called Endovier, which is a prison. So she was like working in a prison and she was not very happy. Obviously she was tortured and it wasn't great. So then this competition comes around and she is competing in this competition to be the king's champion and win her freedom. So I finished the first book and it was a little bit slow, but I'm obviously interested to see how the series ends, because I have the second book in that series, which I'm actually going to hold up right now. So the second book in the Throne of Glass series is Crown of Midnight, and I absolutely love the covers of these books. Sorry, because I have my ring light on, it's kind of annoying to try and show the book covers. But this is the second book in the Throne of Glass series, and the top of the book says, "Before she was deadly, now she is unstoppable." So on the back it says, Selena Sardothian, royal assassin, is the King of Ardalan's deadliest weapon. She must win her freedom through his enemy's blood, but she cannot bear to kill for the crown. And every death Selena fakes, every lie she tells, puts those she loves at risk. Torn between her two protectors, a captain and a prince, and battling a dark force greater than the king, Selena must decide what she will fight for: her liberty, her heart, or the fate of the kingdom. Now that just sounds completely up my alley, but like I said, I am going to be reading this because I recently finished Throne of Glass and I want to progress, move on, and then finally end up with Kingdom of Ash, which is the last book. So there's, how many books are there? I still have all these other books. So I have read this one, I'm talking about this one, and this is where I need to get to. So I still have 1, 2, 3, 4, technically 5, 6 books that I have to get through before I even, get to the Kingdom of Ash one. I'm a mess. This is terrible. Okay, so the next book that I have got to read is From Blood and Ash by Jennifer L. Armentrout. Now, I have been reading this book. I'm actually on page 145 of this book, but I have the sequel, which is A Kingdom of Flesh and Fire, and then The Crown of Gilded Bones. Now these books are Ailey's that she loaned to me, so thank you Ailey so much. It took a little while for me to get into the books because I had just come out of reading another fantasy series. I had just come out of reading Court of Thorns and Roses book series, which, by the way, I didn't think I would love another fantasy series as much as Twilight, and then I read Court of Thorns and Roses and I just, it doesn't like, it's not better than Twilight, but it's on that same level for me. I absolutely loved that world so much. I told Ailey to read it, she did, and now she's the same as me. We're hooked. We can't wait for the TV show. We're gonna order Chinese food. We're gonna sit and watch it. We're gonna cry. We're gonna laugh. It's gonna be a beautiful experience. But we don't even have a cast list yet. We don't even have a script. We don't have an air date. Nothing. So we're still in the early stages of waiting for this world to be created for us to watch on TV. So when the time comes, it's going to be beautiful. I'm so excited. But yes, Ailey loaned me this book series. This is a book swap that we're in the middle of doing. So From Blood and Ash goes as follows. Chosen from birth to usher in a new era, Poppy's life has never been her own. The life of the maiden is solitary, never to be touched, never to be looked upon, never to be spoken to, never to experience pleasure. Well, that's depressing. Waiting for the day of her ascension, she would rather be with the guards fighting back the evil that took her family than preparing to be found worthy of the gods, but the choice has never been hers. The entire kingdom's future rests on Poppy's shoulders, something she's not even quite sure she wants for herself, because a maiden has a heart and a soul and longing. And when Hawk, the golden-eyed guard, honour-bound to ensure her ascension, enters her life, destiny and duty become tangled with a desire and need. He ignites her anger, makes her question everything she believes in, and tempts her with the forbidden. It's a little bit of a slow burner for me, but I can't wait to get to the end of this one and to start the second book, which I believe is this one, because everywhere I've seen on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, everyone says this one is the better of the three, so I can't wait to go straight ahead and read that one. We're getting there, people. We're getting there. What's next? The Crow Prince by Holly Black. Honestly, the reason I picked this up was because I was with Cameron and he was the one that pointed it out to me, and he said that he liked the look of the cover. So I have read the first chapter of this book and it's really interesting. I'm really into books, fantasy, fairies, high fae, that kind of thing, but the fairies that I'm reading in books aren't like little tiny people with wings. They're like tall, the ears, they've got magic, they're sexy. It's like a whole kind of, it's like the new vampires basically, but they don't drink human blood. They actually enjoy dinner. So I think if I had to choose what to be, I'd probably be an elf. Not an elf. I'd probably be a high fae, because then I could still eat nice dinners, because that's the only thing Twilight vampires can't have. They can't have food. The only thing I know about this book that I've been told is that the fae in this book cannot lie. So that's going to be really interesting for me to read, to see how they do that, because having a creature in a book or a person in a book that can't lie is going to be really interesting, because most of the books I read, there's lies and deceit all over the shop. So that's something that I think is going to be really interesting in terms of how it's written. So I can't wait to get started on this. And again, this is part of a trilogy, so most of the books I'm reading are trilogies. Next, we have Empire of the Vampire by J. Kristoff. Now, this book, I'm just going to take this off for a sec so you guys can see how pretty the artwork is on this. When I picked this up the other week there, I had no idea that this book was laden with beautiful images or artwork inside. So in this book, it has got some of the most beautiful, I mean, there's a map. I'm a sucker for a map. I love maps. Maps make me happy. Ooh! There are so many pretty pictures in this book, and it's been a long time since I've read a book that has pictures in it, so I'm really excited to read this, because I've heard that the story's really addictive, but the artwork inside the book itself is also really, really pretty to look at. And sometimes people like having visuals. I'm one of those people, so this might be an interesting read. This book was picked up because I've, again, heard a lot about it. I've heard that it's really good. It's a chunk, so this is going to be a book that takes me a while to get through, which I love. I really love books that are like super, super thick, because it means that if I enjoy it, that there's more to read. However, if I don't like it, then it's going to be a nightmare to get through. I've only done like 10 books. I'm exhausted. I need a break. The next book is my best friend's Exorcism by Grady Hendrix. So this, obviously I picked it up because the cover was just beautiful. I absolutely love how retro this cover looks. It looks like something from like a Blockbuster video or something. But again, this is a book that I've started. I have a little piece of paper in here to tell me how many pages in I'm in. So I'm 77 pages in. So it's about two high school sophomores called Abbey and Gretchen, and one night they decide to go skinny dipping in this local river, and basically Gretchen comes out of the water and she seems possessed by the devil, and Abbey has no idea what's going on with her. So basically it's as if Tina Fey wrote The Exorcist rather than William Peter Blatty, because it is really funny as well. From what I've read, it is really funny. It's not gotten quite creepy yet, but I did read a couple of pages like halfway through the book just to be nosy to see where the book's going to go, and it sounds intense, so I'm pretty excited to finish this one. But I'm holding this up again because it's a book I've started but haven't really, but I'm gonna finish it, so hopefully we'll get there soon. The next book is Starve Acre by Andrew Michael Hurley. This is the reason why I bought the book. This is a quote from the Times. "The best closing line of any novel we have read this year, a strange and unsettling read." So obviously I say that and I flick to the last page and I read the last line and I'm just like, hello! And I just decide, right, I have to pick this book up. I need to see what the hell that was all about. So it's about a couple that live in a house in the middle of nowhere, and their young son has passed away and the couple are trying to deal with their grief, and then the wife begins hearing noises in the house that she believes is their 6-year-old son who has died, and the husband is trying to, you know, rationalize her and make her see that she's kind of, you know, it's her grief. She's not crazy, but it's her grief that's kind of making her hear things and see things that aren't necessarily true. But then he starts to hear and see things as well, and I'm guessing stuff's going to go down because of how this book ends in the last line, and it's really disturbing. So Starve Acre, yes. And I also really liked the pages here because there's a little bit of writing on the pages. I'm a sucker for artwork on a book. I like it. What's next? Jesus. We're nearly there. We're almost there, guys. The next book is another Sarah J Maas book. This is called The House of Earth and... This is called House of Earth and Blood, and this is by Sarah J Maas. This is a Crescent City novel. Bryce Quaylen used to light up Crescent City, partying all night in the clubs where the strict classes of angel, shifter, human and fae merge into a sea of beautiful bodies, and then a demon murdered her closest friends. 2 years later, when the supposed killer is behind bars but the crimes start up again, the city's leaders command Bryce to investigate. They assign an enslaved fallen angel named Hunt Altler. Athalar? His name's Hunt. To make sure she does, but as Bryce fights to uncover the truth and resist her attraction to the brooding angel who shadows her every step, of course, she finds herself following a trail that leads down her own dark past. So this again is another kind of young adult, new adult fantasy book, and there's a lot to read here. The second book is actually coming out next year, and I think I've pre-ordered it. I can't remember, but I want it because it'll be a first edition, and I think I've got it signed. I'm not sure, but again, it was another purchase I got with a Waterstones gift card, and that's why I need to hurry up and read this before the sequel comes out, because I've heard really good things about this book, so I'm excited to see how that one goes. Okay, we're nearly there, guys. You know what? At this point, I should just go like this. 1, 2, just throw them about. Okay, the next book we have is Lockdown Abbey, which is a murder mystery book, which is a play on words for Downton Abbey. So yeah, people go to a party at a rich house and, you know, there's a murder and they're locked in for the night. Typical Agatha Christie. Can you leave? There's a murder. Who's the murderer? It's not the person you expect type of book. So I just bought this because it was in the little basket where it's like, oh, all books must go type of thing. So I just picked this up. Haven't read it at all, but I will. I promise I will. Okay, next. Okay, this one I'm actually really excited to talk about. So this is Killers of the Flower Moon by John Crackner. I cannot say anybody's names. John Crackner. And the only reason I bought this book is because Brendan Fraser is going to be in the Martin Scorsese film adaptation of this book. And this is... It's not like a story. I think this is a non-fiction book about events that actually happened. And it's set in the 1920s, and it's basically to do with oil. That's all I know. But Cameron and I had the hardest time finding this book because I thought it was in the fiction section, but then I found out that it's actually a non-fiction book. So this would be the first non-fiction book that I've read in years. But if Brendan has been attached to the book and the film, then of course I'm going to read it because he has my heart forever and ever and ever. Which leads me to my next book, which isn't technically a book, but I thought I would talk about it anyway because it was up on the shelf and I haven't read it yet. Okay, so like I said, this isn't a book, but this is an audio CD book. This thing is so old, by the way. I don't even know. So this is like lots of little discs. So it's an audio book. And before anybody says, oh, Charlotte, you could have got an audiobook online, This is one of those weird ones that isn't available on the UK Audible or the UK kind of apps for listening to books, because it's American only. But this is Inkspell, which is the sequel to a book I read in high school called Inkheart, which is a book about a man who has this talent where he can read books and then things start to come out of the world of the book that he's reading. But unfortunately, one night when he's reading to his daughter Maggie, his wife gets sucked into the book that he's reading called Inkheart, and then something happens to the book and he can't read her out. So the whole journey of Mo and his daughter is to find a specific copy of this book so that he can read his wife back out and read the characters that he's taken out back in. It was amazing. I absolutely loved the book in high school, and then Brendan did the movie, and it turns out that the author wrote the book with him in mind. Like, she saw him as the character, and when she sent him a copy of the book, she left a note and said, you know, I wrote this book with you in mind. And then it was made into a movie, and unfortunately the movie isn't one of my favourites. It's true, it's just not one of my favourites. I don't need to like everything that the man has done, but it's just not one of my favourites. This is the sequel called Inkspell, and the only reason I bought this was because Brendan narrates the book. So of course, if I want 15 hours of Brendan talking to me in my ear, I was gonna buy the book, and I have the receipt in here. So the book was £12 and $80, or $12.80. So to me, that's, well, to us, that's what, like £9, £8 or something. I bought this a while ago, but I'm either gonna have to burn it onto my computer, or I'm just gonna put it in my car and then listen to it as I drive, or sit and have a Costa, or I don't know. But the time will come when I will be immersing myself into the world of Inkspell, so I'm really excited. Next we have Legion by William Peter Blatty. Oh, it's Blatty. I've been saying Blatley. Sorry. And this is the sequel to The Exorcist, and I read the first book. I read The Exorcist, and it was a family drama. Say what you want about The Exorcist, you know, the movie is, you know, it's quite scary, and it was quite ahead of its time and everything like that, but the book really just read like a family drama. It was so many stories, a man dealing with his faith, and, you know, his mother's dying, and then you've got Chris, who's the mother of the little girl who gets possessed by the devil. But if you kind of take all that kind of supernatural element stuff out of it, it's actually a really interesting story in terms of all these kind of crises that all these people are going through. But this is the sequel that Cameron's brother Ross got me for my Christmas, maybe last year, I want to say Christmas last year, and I haven't read it yet, but I will. Like I'm saying, I'm talking about it on this, you know, on this video because it has got to be read. So yeah, I'm definitely going to read that because I really did enjoy the first book. It's a great book. I've tried to get my mum to read it, but she saw The Exorcist when she was a kid, and she just thinks I think she remembers it to be worse than it actually is. It's not that bad compared to stuff I've seen nowadays. It's tame. Oh my god, there's still so many books. This might need to be 2 parts, guys. Okay, I'm gonna make this a 2-parter because there's just too many books to talk about. This is so embarrassing. Okay, so yeah, we're just gonna go straight on to part 2. Thanks for watching if you're just gonna watch part 1. And yeah, I'm so embarrassed. I thought I was done, and then I looked here and realised, oh god, I'm not actually finished. There's still books everywhere. Thank you so much for watching part 1, and if you want to stick around for part 2, then hopefully it should be up. I'll try and upload them both at the same time, and I'll leave the link to that video down below, or it might be on this side of the screen here. Thanks so much, guys. This is so embarrassing. Bye.